Okay guys, so in today's video we are going to be working on Island Game, and if you remember in last week's, not last week's, but the previous video of this game series, we worked on trying to cut down the tree by hitting it. So eventually we will add in the ability to only hit the tree when you have got a weapon in your hand, but at the moment you can just hit the tree as long as you're in range of the tree and you actually hit it. We use a raycast to determine that. So in the previous episode we worked on that, but we have a problem where you hit the tree once, and because the way we set it up, it kind of destroys the tree straight away, which we don't want. We want it to be random, as we tried to do in the last episode. We added some health to the tree. So in today's episode, we're going to go and fix that. It should be one simple fix, and then we should only be allowed to, or when we go and hit the tree, depending on the health of the tree when it gets created, we should now be able to hit the tree multiple times, and then eventually the tree should disappear. So we'll go and get that sorted out, and then we need to try and make it look like the tree not falling down, but we're not gonna make it look like it's falling down. We're gonna make it look like it's just been cut up and left into pieces, even though that doesn't really happen. But we'll do that for now, and then later on in the game series, maybe we'll change it up and make the tree actually fall down, and then you have to cut down the tree, and we'll see what it's like. So today we'll go work on that, but we're not going to be working, or we're not going to be instantiating actual tree pieces. We're just, for now, in today's episode, we're just going to get it working by probably using some cylinders. And then later on, once we've got pieces of like logs and stuff, we will replace them later on. So let's jump into it and get started. So if you remember in our previous episode, this is where we were. We worked on adding the ability to cut down a tree, but you can see if we hit it once, the tree disappears straight away. So that's not really what we want. We want it to be random so that it actually takes some time to destroy the trees, and you use some effort. So later on, when we add in some strength and health to the actual player, by you taking a while to cut down a tree, it's gonna like make you exhausted, hopefully. So we need to go and change that. So I think it's just one simple fix. So I think because we have get mouse button, that as long as you are holding down, or as long as you press down your mouse button, it's going to constantly register that this mouse button is being clicked until you let go of it. So hopefully, I'm hoping that if we go and put get mouse button down, it will only register it once. That's the hope. So let's go and destroy this tree. So this one is that one. So we can see on this tree it has a health of 0, but when we go and start the game, it's going to get a health assigned to it. So the health of that tree is now 10. So if we go to it, we should now be able to hit it. So if we hit it, you can see the health has now gone down to 8, and the tree is still there. So we're going to have to hit it a bunch of times to get it to actually eventually disappear. So at this point, instead of just the tree disappearing, we are going to now work on trying to make it look like a tree has just magically been cut into pieces and left on the floor. So let's go and do that. So let's go to we need to do it in one of our scripts. So when we go and cut down our tree, when we go and, where is it? So when we go and destroy it, where do we destroy it? Probably now tree. So here, destroy game object. So in our update method of our tree, is looking for when our health is less than or equal to 0, and if it is, we need to go and destroy it. So let's go and change this up in our tree class. We can go and create another function, and this will be called destroy tree. So let's create this and make it a private. I don't think it needs to be public for now, but we'll make it private void, and then we can go and get rid of this. Actually, let's go and copy this, or actually cut it out, and here we can just call our destroy tree. Actually, let's do it this way. We'll keep this here and only call our method if our health is below 0. So let's go and say destroy tree, and then we can just add the destroy method into here. So here, before we do anything, we want to destroy the tree. So let's go and say destroy, and then game object. So that should destroy our tree. Next, we are first going to need a reference to some cylinders for now. So we'll just say game object. I think it's a game object, or was it a transform? Let's try actually a game object. Let's stick with game object. So game object, this is going to be, let's just say tree. Actually, let's just say logs. So this is where we are going to, actually, let's make it an array, and then we can add in some different sizes, and then we can go through that array and pick out a random number and just instantiate that many out of that array. So it will be random logs or game objects out of that array, if that makes sense. So in our what's called destroy tree class, first of all, before we do anything, let's go and make these cylinders. So let's go and create a new 3D object, and this is going to be a cylinder. So this is going to be our log underscore 1, because we're going to have a bunch of different ones. So we can make this one, let's reset it. Actually, let's not do that. And then on the scale, okay, so it's 1, 1, and 1, so that's fine. So we'll leave that like that, and then we need to rename it again. This is going to be log underscore 1. Then we can go and copy and paste that, change this to log underscore 2. Change the scale to about half for what it is. So that one's going to be small. We'll change this to about 0.7, and then I think this one 0.7, just so it looks like it's getting thinner. Log 3 will be also different. So this one can be 0.2. Actually, that's way too small. 0.5. Let's bring it out. 0.5, 0.5, and 0.5. Okay, let's copy log 1 and just make another one, log 4. This is probably a very bad way of doing it, but we're just going to do this for now to get the function working, so that it actually instantiates these logs. And then later on, we might change it. So this can be 0.75, and then 0.7 and 0.7, like that. We will copy another one and just make one last one. This one is going to be log 5, like that. And then I think let's just go and make this one 0.4, like that. Okay, so there we have it. There we have our logs. Now let's create a prefab out of them. Do we not have any prefab folders? No, we don't. Okay, so let's make a prefab folder. We must have one because we have all of these prefabs. Let's see, low poly assets. No, I think that's coming from, probably coming from this folder anyway. Okay, so let's make another prefab folder. And then in here, we are going to drag all of these. So these are now our prefabs of our logs. So we could probably download a simple texture for them, but we're not going to do that today. We'll do that probably in the next episode. So now that we've got them as prefabs, let's go and delete them. Can delete all of those, and on our tree. So let's open up our tree script. Okay, so here is our tree prefab. So let's open this up, and then on our tree, you can see now we have an array of logs. So let's go. I think we made 5, so we can add 5 in here. And I don't know. Can you select all of them at once? Okay, that's not going to work. Okay, so we'll drag in the first one. This is going to take a while. Drag in the first one, second one, and then all the way down to the 5th one. 4, and 5. Okay, so now we've got our logs there. So hopefully that assigns them to all of our trees. Okay, all of our trees in the scene have got those 5 logs attached to them. Okay, that's fine. Now let's go work on instantiating them. So before we do that, let's go and add in, let's make sure they have a collider on them so that they can look like they're bouncing. So they do. They have a collider. They are going to need a rigid body. Actually, let's do this. Let's go back, and then on all of these, we can add a rigid body onto all of them. And then they need to have gravity on them. So use gravity, that's fine. Mass is 1. Okay, that's fine. Now let's just play this to see if they actually fall down. Oh no, they're not going to fall down because we deleted them out the scene. Okay, that's fine. We'll eventually see it when we instantiate them. So now the only thing that's left to do is to go and instantiate them. But before we do that, on our tree prefab, we need to go and add an empty game object. So let's create an empty child object, and this is going to be our, what's it going to be? It needs to be a reference point for where we want to instantiate them. Although it doesn't really matter. But let's just go, okay, so we'll reset it as back to 0. That's fine. So let's go and move it up a little bit so that it looks like they're falling eventually. So we'll put it there, and then we can call this our log point. I don't know, you can call whatever you want. Okay, so in our script, now we can have, instead of an array of game objects, we're going to have a transform. And this is going to be our log point. Now we can go and assign that onto our tree. So we can drag this into, where is it? Our tree, there it is. Try that again, drag that into there. And now we need to override our tree so that it applies to all of our all of our trees. So you can see that we now have a log point on all of our trees. So that's cool. Although we could, because we override them and it's all the same tree, they're all going to have it in the exact same point. So we could move it for each individual one, but we really don't really want to do that because that will take some time. So there's our log point on that one. On this one, our log point is in the exact same place. Okay, that's fine. We'll change it up later. Let's just go make it work. So now we've got a log point. We can use that point to instantiate our logs in that place. So we can go and say, let's go and say int random, or let's say, yeah, random log. Random logs is going to be equal to random dot random, and then we'll give it a value from 0 to, what is it, logs dot length. So it picks a random value between 0 and the length of our array, which is 5. So we can pick any number from 0 to 5. And then using that number, we can go and instantiate that amount of logs, just so that it's random every time. So we can go and say for int, or we can say for random logs is equal to 0, where random logs is less than or equal to random logs. No, that's not going to work. What are we saying? Yeah, let's go say int I is equal to 0, where I is less than or equal to random logs I plus plus. Hopefully that should work. Int I. Okay, cool. So now that we've got that, this needs to be just I. Now that we've got that, we can go in and instantiate them. So let's go and say var log is going to be equal to instantiate What do we need? Original, so we're gonna have to say logs and then at the index of I. So instantiate that log. Where else? We need a parent, so we can say log point. And then do we need anything else? Actually, let's just try that and see what we get. So I'm gonna guess that this is not gonna work because I haven't even researched this or tested it out. So let's give it a try and see if it works. It'll be a miracle if it does actually work, but we can only hope. So let's go to this tree and break it. And we can see that we don't get any trees. So, okay, so I think I might know why. So what we want to do is we want to destroy the tree after. Actually, this is not really going to work because let's just give this a test. I think this should work, but if we destroy the tree first, we don't have that log point, so we can't instantiate them, I don't think. So let's go back to our tree and destroy it. Okay, so we don't have any of those. So let's see. Let's go back and see which tree do we use. So we're gonna destroy this one. Okay, so we'll click that so we actually see it. And then let's go to it again. Hopefully it's the right one. So tree of 10, health of 10. If we destroy it, okay, so we don't want this. This is not going to work because this point no longer exists once you've destroyed it. It's not really going to work. So can we get rid of that and just instantiate them into the scene? Let's try that. I wonder if we can. Let's just say game object dot transform dot position. Does that work? No. Let's just try that and see what it does. And then maybe, hopefully we get some logs being instantiated into the scene, but I feel like they're not going to be instantiated right here. They're going to be put somewhere else. Okay, so, okay, nice. That's what we wanted. So let's go and close the game. That is not what we expected. Okay. At least it works. The logs have been instantiated, but oh, okay, I know why this is working, why this is happening, because this is in our update method. So as long as the health is less than or equal to 0, this method is just going to be called constantly. So we need to go and say, let's go and say bool. We can create a is destroyed and set that equal to false. Okay, and then in our check we can go and say if health is less than or equal to 0 and is not destroyed rather, then we can go and destroy the tree. So now in here, once we've destroyed the tree, we can go and say is destroyed is equal to true. Okay, so let's try that and see if that works. So that should allow us to only instantiate those logs at once and not 1,000 like we just did. So let's give this another try. So you'll see that when we break this, we should. Okay, so it does work, but where are logs? There are logs. The only reason why the tree is not being destroyed is because, actually, let's do this. Let's actually destroy the tree. So let's go and say destroy game object and see. Let's just see if this works. Otherwise, we'll have to make a different plan. Let's give this a test. So you can see, just look at the bottom here in our inspector. You can see in our hierarchy you can see that when we do eventually destroy the tree, our logs are being instantiated, but there they are. They are not being put in the correct place. So we need a reference to that place that is not really attached to the tree. So let's go and see, where's our internet? Let's go here and say how to instantiate a game object. It's going to take a while. Game object at specific position. So let's see. It should be simple. I probably just forgotten how to do it. So instantiate, just add a specific location to the script. Here's how it's done. Instantiate prefab vector. Okay. Let's try that and see. Where are we? Here we are. Okay, so when we instantiate it, we can go and say vector 3 and then let's say quaternion dot identity, but that doesn't work. So let's see what this is saying. New vector 3. Okay, so now we need to, this needs to be a position. So let's just go and say here, let's go say for our position, or let's just say vector 3, because new vector. I think we have to do like this. Vector 3 location is going to be equal to new vector 3, or let's just say game object dot transform log point dot position. Okay, so that should be fine. And instead of saying this, we can go and say location. Let's give that a try and see if we get our logs in the correct location. So we need to go and destroy this tree, and then hopefully it should fall out of the sky from here. Okay, so there they are. You can see we have our logs. That's cool. If we go and destroy this one, you can see our logs are there, or I mean, because it's random, we only get 1 for that. This one we have 4 logs, and then this one we have 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that's working. So you can see our logs are now being instantiated, and now they're rolling off into the ocean. Alrighty, so that's working. What's happening here? Null reference, object reference not set to an instance cut tree dot update. Okay, so we will figure that out later, but that is going to be it for today's episode. So we've done the destroying of our tree. We can only now, or when we click on the tree, it only registers 1 hit, which is great, and then it deducts, I think it's 2 health value from the tree, each tree, or I think it might be random as well. Can't remember, we did that in the previous episode. But not only that, now when we go and destroy the tree, the logs now actually get instantiated, so that's great. Now what's left is we need to go and make them look good. Well, not really. I think the overall design of the game and how everything looks is probably going to change later on. I think the main objective from now is, well, at the moment, is to get things working. And then later on, once everything's working, we can start working on how things look, because at the moment, I kind of want to redesign the entire game, but we don't want to do that now. I want to get things working first, and then we will continue from there. But yeah, that's it for today's episode. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in tomorrow's episode. So enjoy your day, and goodbye.